Hello and welcome to Frugal Finance. Today we're going to look at 5 ways of saving money and mindset around saving money. And this can be for anybody, no matter what your spectrum is on the wealth. So without further ado, let's get in. So we're in recessionary times right now, and it shocks me that some of the statistics out there suggest that 30% of adults have less than £1,000 in savings or instant access money. That's incredible, given that the average salary is probably £1,300 to £1,400 take home. That means that they've got less than 1 month's living expenses saved up. We need to fix this. So one of the first things we need to do is take the emotion out of money. So it's a very addictive thing, spending money. It's very, when we're kind of downbeat and stressed about life and the rest of it, it's so easy to get that instant fix from spending money on those goods, trying to keep up with the Joneses, spending money on your kids, experiences, signing up for subscriptions that are probably beyond your normal ability to pay. And what we need to do is really take that emotion away from money, and make the goal saving money and being proud of the savings that you've got, instead of proud of the commodities or the assets that you have, or what you believe are assets, which are actually liabilities because they're costing you money. So number one thing you need to do is make a budget. So you need to strip it right back and get down to the nitty-gritty of really looking at what you're spending. What are your outgoings, the minimum outgoings? What are your incomings? So benefits, after tax, childcare, all that kind of stuff. You need to do that budget, you need to make that. And that is the only true way of starting, because you need to know what you've got going in, what you've got going out. If you haven't got a clue of that, then you're not really going to set off in the right direction. So first things first, make a budget, and then let's try to stick to that. So now we've got number one sorted, we've got our budget. Number two, what we need to do is make sure we have some savings in there. So we take our budget, and as a rule of thumb, 10% of what we've got left over needs to go into a savings pot. Now we'll come on to the types of pot, but that is what you need to do, and you need to make that automatic. So it literally leaves your bank account the day or the day after you're paid. It's not something you think about transferring later in the month. It's something that is done and automated. You need to not then dip into that savings unless you really need to. So that is an automatic thing. There's a reason why your mortgage and your electricity and your Sky are on direct debits. It's automatic. That needs to be part of that system. That is point number two. The third thing the third thing is, why are we doing this? You need to have a reason and a goal. So once you've done your budget and you've figured out your saving goal, you need to know why you're doing this. So the goal is obviously to be more secure, but you need to remind yourself on a daily basis why you're not having a Starbucks and you're choosing to save £25, or you need to be able to say, I can afford the Starbucks today because I've saved the £25. It's automatic. You want to have this inbuilt ability to be proud of the savings that you've got, and the goal is your own personal goal as to why you want to do that. Obviously, it's financial secureness, but it's about tracking those spendings and saying to yourself, I've saved the £25 this week, so your goal might be £100 every 4 weeks or every month, £25 a week. I've reached that goal. Do I want to exceed that goal? Do I want to buy the Starbucks coffee or whatever the luxury thing is? Can I really afford that? Am I going to pay for that this week and then struggle next week? And then you have a better understanding of why you're working towards this and why you're making these sacrifices. And you've got to have that goal in sight all the time. Remember why you're doing this. And, you know, if it helps, look at the amount of money you've saved. Yes, you can dream of the things you can spend the money on, but it's not that. It's buying you peace of mind. So point 4 on the list is doing a service or an investigation or routine overview, whatever, or an MOT, if you like, of your monthly bills. So look at your monthly bills. Am I overpaying for electricity? Am I not using my car as much as I used to? Am I paying too much for Sky? Can I get a better broadband deal? Can I cut some of these things out? It's about looking at your bills. The amount of times I see people where they've got a mobile phone and they've paid £50-60 a month for it, and at the end of the contract, obviously you can drop down to a SIM only card, or you can lessen the amount of money that you're paying out, or go up for another new phone if you need to do that, but obviously you're going to continue paying for that for 2 or 3 years. But the amount of times I see people are still paying the really high amount of money for the original phone because they haven't been bothered to ring up and see if they're eligible for an upgrade, or if even they can cut some of their costs. And it's the same with the electricity companies. Lots of them do lots of various incentives for people now. You can have dual fuel, you can get discounts for paying by direct debit and for having your bills online. There are loads more electricity companies than your old classics of British Gas and EDF Energy now. And Sky as well, you know, there's lots of different things. There's Virgin, there's Netflix, mobile phone telephones, EE people, they do broadband. There are loads of things. You're working from home more. Maybe you could even ask your employer if they'll contribute towards your broadband, and if they won't, then fine. You know, you've asked. You can't do any more than try and give your bills and your life, if you like, your financial side of your life, a bit of a once over or an MOT or a spruce up, really. That's probably one of the most common mistakes people are making. So finally, the 5th way of saving money: focusing on debt. So if you've got credit card loans, bad debt other than mortgage debt, focus in on seeing how you can pay those off or pay them down or get better interest rates with them. Now, I've done a whole video on the dangers of compound interest, which the links will be below. But basically, paying the minimum payments on your credit card is not sufficient enough if you're paying 29% APR or whatever you're paying. Please go and check out the video I did where I've got the descriptions of or demonstrations of how much it costs you if you just pay the minimum all the time, if you slightly overpay, or if you transfer to a 0%. So there are lots of deals out there. You've got to remember that companies actually make money off your debt. So they're happy to lend you money and you not pay it back straight away because they charge you for it. If you borrow £1,000 and the interest rate is 30% per annum, they're charging you £300 a year. So they give you £1,000 and you give them 300 quid for the privilege plus the payments back on that. So what investment in the world is going to give you 30% return at this precise moment? So quite frankly, if people came to me and said, I give you a secured loan of £1,000 and I'll give you 30% back, well, bite their hand off of it, because you're not going to get that from the stock market. And that, in reality, is how the credit card companies and loan companies make their profit. So even if you take your credit card balance and you transfer it to a 0% and they charge you 2% for the privilege. They've still made money out of that, but you're paying considerably less. So if you've got loans over long periods of time, or you've got bad credit card debt, have a look at that, see what you're truly paying for that. Do that compound interest calculation. You'll be shocked, but don't let it put you off. Don't put your head in the sand and just ignore it and think the problem is too big for me to tackle. Tackle it straight on. Use the avalanche technique of just banging out one debt, or use the snowball technique of firing bits of money at each debt if you've got multiple ones. It doesn't matter. You won't ever get any returns to the level of the interest that you're being charged by investing your money. So you're always better off paying down any high interest loans. Now, obviously, if you've borrowed £10,000 at 2% and you've invested it somewhere into a property or something or other and it's giving you 10% back, then yes, there are people out there that will do that. And that's probably few and far between. Most people would have taken out credit card debt, bought a nice telly, car, some liability, not an asset, and it will be going down in value and your payments will not be depleting because you'll be making a minimum payments on that. So that is your fifth way of saving money, really looking into those things. So I hope all of those were really useful to everybody, and I would be super grateful if you could like and subscribe to the channel, comment below, share the video. I'm sure you know someone that could do with some financial advice. Please comment below if you're stuck. Obviously all of this is for educational purposes only, but I really hope it gives some people some clear, focused ideas of how they can start on their journey of saving money and making their lives a bit more secure and less stressful. So, till next time, bye-bye.